This is my presentation of what I want to learn from Dr. Gary Kaplan in his Virginia Mason Medical Center to deal with the problem at my medical center. So the three questions that I would use to hopefully gain the most expertise from Dr. Kaplan are: how did you create a work culture that is known for putting patient safety first and being overly conscientious, even outside your hospital at the level of the state health department? So whether my site currently has what I perceive as a culture of safety and patient primacy and things like that, clearly the values that Virginia Mason Medical Center have go beyond just within their walls. So that's something I definitely want for my center. So how do we become known for this? Another one is, why do you think the McClintons were able to forgive and form such a collaborative relationship with your hospital after this tragedy? I think that speaks volumes to the steps that Dr. Kaplan and his center took to fixing this situation and learning from it and being positive about it, because the people that were affected by it still go there, and they go there to collaborate with them. So that if we can do that or create a relationship like this with people from the community, that will strengthen our center's view. I also want to know, why were you comfortable and confident with publicly sharing this mistake? This seems like a bad choice, but it does not, in the end, I don't think it was for them. I think it was the smart choice. So I mean, what was his incentive behind that to go through this? Was it a leading by example so that he could gain the trust of his staff to be more willing to admit to mistakes? Like, what was the benefit of doing this? So using the art of powerful questioning, I first formulated a list of questions that I wanted to kind of get some help from Dr. Kaplan with. And then from there, I was able to kind of theme it down into the big questions. I also wanted to use open-ended questions so that I could hopefully lead to more conversation type responses from Dr. Kaplan, so that, if my question led to a sub-question, we could get more information out of it. I also wanted to make sure that I wanted to try my best not to put him in a defensive state. So it was more, I rephrased some of my questions in order to remove any bias, negativity, and that sort of thing that I thought might be in there. And I also wanted to think about my questions from a point of view of, when I go back to my site, how can I use this information to foster positivity, foster growth, and not be focusing on how do we fix this problem? So the next two slides are what I learned about leadership and professionalism in healthcare. Overall, there's just learning that it's more than a management tool. And then I kind of had to define leadership versus professionalism. So I took leadership as being the facilitator, the person in charge, getting this stuff to happen. And when a good leader is also professional, they know when to relinquish some control and when to, keep their ego and things like that out of it. So for leadership, a healthcare leader needs to foster a culture of safety, all right? The employees need to be able to talk about mistakes that happen and not feel like they're going to be fired for it. Foster a culture of collaboration so that the different teams and departments work together. And leadership is more than just acting on the fly. Sometimes that's necessary, and a leader needs to know when that is, but they need to also, when they can, plan for the questions that are going to happen, the activities that are going to occur. And then professionalism, is where a good leader is able to relinquish some control. All right, they're going to keep the big picture in mind, and that's not their ego, it's the whole site. They're going to accept that they do not know everything. They are going to need input from experts in their respective fields, departments, whatnot. They need to take responsibility for the mistakes of the hospital. That's part of what being a professional leader is being the one on the front line, so that the people behind you can improve themselves. And acknowledging when others help you out, right? Because a leader doesn't do their job alone. They can't, not in a complicated situation like a healthcare center. And references.